guess you don't have to get it right the first time, right? You can just say, I don't like that, delete, and do it again. I need to do this skit here for my kid. He's wanting me to do the Stark Raving Sober thing on YouTube and series about sobriety. Because there's just so many damn people that are suffering in the world right now. It's just outrageous, the numbers. And he was saying, Dad, you've been doing this for a long time, and ran the recovery house. And you really need to be putting this out there, because so the imperative is different. Early on, Michael wanted me to do podcasts and stuff too around recovery, and it's like, Dad, you should do that, and I just kind of like, I'm too selfish, I'm really selfish with my time. These days I'm getting old. I've been doing this shit a long time. We need more people to, because Sean just got 90 days, and, he got a taste of what alcoholism's like, just like I did. It's a family disease. It's genetic. And if you've got it, not everybody has it, But if you do have alcoholism, or you got that genetic bug, son of a gun, if you don't arrest it at some point, the disease progresses differently in different individuals. With me, I was very lucky that it progressed very fast and aggressively. I was a late-stage chronic alcoholic by the time I was 24. About killed myself in the process. I wanted to. It's like death was a step up, baby, compared to the way I was feeling and living back then, running and gunning and just, it's a long story. But that's why I'm doing this, because I need to, share my story. And because I think that, maybe some people can connect. I know that some have before, and that's how the reason why I'm saying that is because I wasn't sure about the sobriety gig either when I first started out. A couple of years into it, it's like, I was struggling. I'd relapsed a couple of times early on and bounced right back, but I was struggling. And Jerry, a friend of mine, he sponsored me for a little while, and he was like 30 years sober. He was a circuit speaker and stuff, and he was from Cali. And I think it was Jerry that brought me this tape, and this was Earl H. And this is the Redondo Beach. I still have this from 1994. It was 95 maybe when I got it. I don't know, but yeah, Earl H. Redondo Beach, Cali. Sobriety, the good life, the Cornhuskers Roundup. When I listened to this tape, it was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Because Earl, really incredible human being. I mean, he's really smart. And, his life experience, I can relate in a lot of ways. Maybe not as harsh, but anyway, so this is what this is about. This is for Stark Raving Sober, like I said, and this tape, if you ever get a chance or look up Earl H., 1994 when he was speaking. He still speaks now, and I think he's 40 years sober now. Can you believe that? I'm done with this part, and then I'm gonna stop here, and then I'm gonna read. I had to show my kid the first video to get his approval on that, and so he says, "Yeah, that's good, Dad. Just do it like that." All right. Anyway, this is what I was, earlier as this gift called sobriety. I got to thinking about what my son had talked to me about earlier, and my other sons talked about, and for Stark Raving Sober. And I wrote here for all the people we have lost, and those still suffering, all the ghosts still fighting, transparent as they are in this old war of the souls, still fighting the good fight. Kudos. Forever, we are white belts. I do not care about your politics, pigmentation, religion, sexual orientation, or your generation. Don't. Because addiction does not discriminate who it wants to eat alive. It crosses all demographics, cultures, ethnicity, creed, culture, all borders, boundaries, you name it. Okay, that's the reality about addiction. Addiction kills in the number of about 300K a year now. And that's conservative in USA. And so addiction has killed more in 30 years than all wars combined in history. Let that sink in. Take your time and think about the targeted audience, the demographics of addiction. Where's the greatest impact? There are a lot of numbers. A lot of names. I can give those numbers. And genocide is one, frankly. I mean, with those kind of numbers year after year after year. But you've been in the trenches for 3 decades, and like I say, you've seen that target audience of addiction. It is truly heartbreaking and tragic to see, people who are like in the primes of their lives are just being decimated by dope and drugs and just, it's just unbelievable the way addiction works. How it takes people out, it's evil. It's an evil corroding thread that just, touches the fabric of everybody's lives, that it comes in contact with, and I'm looking at things today like, it's always been bad. The last 30 years has been bad. Shit, it's never, seems like we started losing the battles more, especially, in pandemic stuff. People really took a hit. And no conspiracy or anything like that, but it's just a little ironic that bars were open. Everything else was shut down, but bars and shit like that and dispensaries and all these things were open. And if you read the data today about the spike in addiction and mental health and suicide, and on every single level, jobs lost, careers lost, lives lost, marriages lost, relationships shot, just exponentially off chart. Okay, just saying. Now we have a fentanyl crisis. And so it's kind of like, how do you attack something of this magnitude? The crisis needs to be attacked with a massive mobilization, as in the theater of war would they conduct itself. Think about how they mobilize to tackle something, to really tackle it. And what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to close down these borders, the South especially, because there's been enough fentanyl come across borders to kill every American, every human being in this country. We know that. That's unbelievable. Militarize the border so that nobody comes in, nobody goes out, unless you've got the proper credentials, and send a clear signal to people all over the world that don't give them any reason to think that they're going to be able just to waltz right into America. Give them, show them right up front, these borders are closed, they're militarized, go find somewhere else to beg for money, food, and shelter, and free shit. And then identify those that are in the country and deport those that need to be deported. And those that are seeking true, amnesty or something like that. Sort through it, It's not black and white issue, people. There's a lot of gray here. Stop the amount of drugs, the fentanyl crisis, all that coming across the border. And then you got, this homeless problem that's going on with it. This is addiction related. The homelessness is off chart. Why do you think that is? It's not like, healthy people decide they're just going to go live out on the street. These people don't show up on the street on a winning streak. Like people who are living in the ghetto don't get to the ghetto by being on a winning streak. So what's the problem? What's the common problem, in homelessness? Mental illness and addiction. Duh. If you can tackle those two, your homelessness will go away. Serious. And a lot of crime and a lot of other stuff. Okay? Look at the numbers in incarceration in prison and how many of those are related to substance abuse, addiction, drugs and alcohol. A ton. And so, more accountability, That's the reality. We need more accountability, informed consent about the dangers, the real dangers of alcohol, the real dangers of drugs, and don't make it so easy and accessible. Don't glamorize it, you know, because it is. Alcohol and drugs and all that shit's glamorized. But talk to the people, 10 hours down the line after they've been partying all night, how glamorous they look, sound, smell. So we need more accountability in that. Until we stop pretending this country doesn't have a problem, the United States of America doesn't have a problem with addiction, with drugs and alcohol, booze, obesity, god dang, you name it. It's just off chart. Why? Duh. We have a spiritual problem in this country too. Serious, emotional, all that. It's all tied together. And until that's being addressed, none of the other stuff is going to get fixed. Period. And this problem won't go away. And if you think these numbers are bad now, just give it another 5 years unaddressed. It'll eat your children alive. They won't have a chance in hell. So that's reality. That's where this is going. I do believe, dealing with such a colossal issue as this is, that, I believe in revivals and I believe in grassroots movements. And I think that can really change things if everybody wakes up and gets on the same team and playing field, show up for drill, and fight a righteous fight, a good fight, a noble fight that's going to help your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so forth in the future. All collectively, something that we can do together. One thing that we could all agree on for once maybe is getting everybody well and healthy again, so our families can be strong. I'm getting emotional. Anyhow, that's what we need to do. I mean, I know that sounds oversimplified, but really it's not. It has to start at the grassroots in the house, the families, put your own damn self in check. What do I need to do to make my family better? What's my issues? What do I need to tackle, before I, pull the plank out of my own damn eye before I start trying to pull the splinters out of yours. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm excited about this. I think I might be getting a little fired up about it, actually. Get on my soapbox here, but I need to be the change I hope to see, and I'm glad my sons talked about this and brought that conviction, in my heart, and and I get some little attitude behind it, some ego, and there we go. We're off to the races. It don't take much, in this bloodline. We be high stepping, blue blood. So that's just the way that shit works. Anyway, this is how we deal with addiction. It's a connection. Sharing our stories and who we are is just being real. And but there is a solution to all of this. And if everybody starts to get on board, great things can happen. I know the 90s was a real huge explosion, and in the recovery, it was a big deal because there was a lot of similar weirdness going on. A lot of hot shots, people were dying. A lot of good dope coming through the borders that weren't cut. Just killing people off left and right. They were thinking it was, dirty dope, but it was clean and it was killing them. So unless you understand that, you'd never get that. You know what I mean? But anyhow, so this is for Stark Raven Sobers for my kid, and he's probably going to have to edit the shit out of this one. Oh, shit.